We, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Marshfield, Board of Health, the Town of Marshfield, hereby declare that as of March 17th, a state of emergency exists in the Town of Marshfield.
As we all know, the governor gave us some information that we all thought was going to happen in some shape or form. We weren't sure if it was going to be short-term or long-term continuation of the school closures, but on Tuesday they did determine that schools, public schools and private schools, our buildings would remain closed through the end of the school year.
Let's use our power for good and take care of one another. Please make these minor sacrifices now to get us back on track and healthy again.
I want to say it was like overnight, almost everybody turned into a COVID patient because symptomatically we had to figure out who's could have COVID. So almost everyone kind of registered for that. So the whole floor turned into a COVID floor. And we were actually the COVID floor designated at that very, very beginning. So it was like overnight, everything changed.
We had made the decision while we were still in Vegas, and then because we had been at a conference, we didn't want to come into the building and potentially expose anybody. So we weren't even set up with Zoom at that point. We did it over a phone call the next morning with everybody sitting around the table in our tasting room. It was pretty awful to try to, we were up most of the night trying to write out what we were going to say and how we were going to talk to them and make sure that without actually being in the room with them, that we could try to reassure them that we would do everything we could to make sure that they were financially whole.
I stepped in for the Board of Health at the end of March, so I've pretty much been in on COVID since the beginning. I was like a nurse manager at Shriners Hospital for Children, which is pretty involved. It's a really devastating injury to students, and this is harder than that was.
With having children, I feel like I had to learn how to cope with the anxiety of work. I had to learn it, and I didn't learn it very quickly. I was struggling every day. I would sit at the table and I would just cry. And my husband's like, "Mom's having a minute. Oh, give her a minute." And the kids would be like, "Oh, Mom, I love you. I'm so sorry." And I'm like, I can't even talk about it because it's so sad. But I just one day just said, I'm not going to cry anymore.
Oh, you're making me cry. We're all crying. Everybody's crying.
I said I wasn't going to do this. I really did.
We started doing deliveries whenever we could from here with our hot barbecue. One of the things we just kind of fell into was Cinco de Mayo. That came up, well, I think it was you that came up with the idea.
Well, actually, even before that, we had a client that had reached out and wanted to, I think a family member of hers had had COVID and ended up in the ICU at MGH and realized that the cafeteria there was closed. So none of the staff was finding a way to be able to eat. So she had called and asked if we could set up an online portal where people could make donations, and then we would bring food into the doctors, nurses, and staff there. So we ended up doing over 22,000 meals for Mass General in the course of a month.
Well, my favorite role with that was a lot of the nurses became involved with providing nutritional meals to the students that had nutritional needs that couldn't be met at home. So that was really the best part of what myself and pretty much the whole nursing staff became involved with. So we were working in conjunction with the Boys and Girls Club and the Marshfield Food Pantry, and we were delivering meals to those families that had some nutritional insecurity.
I think definitely seeing how much the community supports the small businesses. It was amazing.
Everywhere you went, there were hearts everywhere, and I kind of was like, in the beginning I was like, oh, that's cute, and then it was like, it meant something. Like I would leave work and I would just have like so much sadness and like want to just burst into tears, and then I would cross the street and there was signs the whole entire way. Like we were walking to our cars and we were like reading these signs, like we're all quiet with our bags and we're like, oh my God, like that person, like this little kid who's 10 years old doesn't know us, wrote us a note, Then there's like hearts like all over the, walkways and everything. It was just, somebody actually came and decorated the walkway, and it said like, after every storm there's a rainbow, and it was so meaningful. Like literally it was the most meaningful thing. We would walk out and be like, oh, there's gonna be a rainbow. This is gonna pass.
had this idea that maybe we should turn on the Christmas lights again on the tree, just to kind of give it a little bit of a bright spot that people put a smile on their face when they're driving through town, and it would be a nice thing to do.
And I think it's important that that people realize that giving our residents and our families and our business owners a voice is so important, because that's the only reason really why this happened, because I didn't realize what was happening with some of our neighbors. And I didn't realize until I had the data right in front of me to say, wow, this is a huge problem. It's bigger than I thought, it's bigger than me, and we need help. So I'm very, very thankful to the United Way, and thank you for all the work you guys do.
I think anytime that there's an opportunity for, Marshfield is a tremendous community, and it is one that pulls together all the time for different needs and for different causes. And so I think the opportunity to help folks at this time, we're thankful to the Chamber for partnering with us to help get the word out and make it happen.
With food distribution, blood drives, PPE equipment. And then once school started, we created a remote hybrid learning support center here for kids that needed, a safe place to go when they physically weren't in school. So we worked with the Marshfield School District and the town and created this safe environment for kids to go to school remotely here at the Boys and Girls Club.
We're about to open the Plymouth County Vaccination Center located at the Marshfield Fairgrounds. And we have our first appointment at 9:45. We're going to do about 110 vaccinations today. And we're going to ratchet up by the end of the week. We'll be doing 500 on Saturday. And starting next week, we'll be at the maximum, which is 600 per day, 3,600 per week.
The town has been running the vaccination clinic now for a few weeks, but today is the first day that educators in Massachusetts are able to get vaccinated. And the town, under the leadership of Mr. Maresco and his vaccination team, helped coordinate all of our teachers in Marshfield here to be able to get their vaccinations, their first vaccination shot if they so chose, either today or tomorrow. So we have hundreds of Marshfield teachers coming today to get their first vaccination shot.
I feel like anything that comes my way, I have like this joke that 2020 nursing, if you can get through that, you can get through anything. And that's literally that's the mantra of all nurses.
Are there things you would have done differently?
No, I feel like I'm really lucky that I did have that experience with COVID right from the beginning, so I didn't have any learning curve at all. And I think our district has benefited from that. Probably the only thing I would have done was retire.
First of all, the Chamber was just absolutely amazing. Anytime we would do anything, any post we'd put up, they would repost it and just make sure that the word was out there as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I felt that the community did the same thing. People that I didn't recognize their names as clients, but they'd be reposting things and, hey, look what these guys are doing, check it out. So it just was really nice to see how much people wanted to see all the businesses succeed.
And we're all doing the absolute best that we can right now for our families, our community, and our businesses. Remember, tough times don't last, but tough people do.
And your class put you here. And so know that your class is speaking and saying what a great job you've done. To our alumni, we appreciate you. We are Marshfield. Together, we will make it through. Go Rams!